Snoop Dogg was one of the leading artists at Death Row Records in the 1990s. His presence was crucial to the company's success, but he faced challenges trying to leave the label, particularly with one of its founders, Son Knight, who was not exactly known for being friendly. If it weren't for the founder of No Limit Records, Snoop Dogg probably wouldn't be alive today. In this video, after reviewing several reports about Death Row and watching various interviews where Snoop Dogg talks about his career and more, I will explain how he managed to escape alive from Death Row Records, a label that now belongs to him but was initially owned by the most wicked individual in the hip-hop industry. Master P, the founder of No Limit Records, was the one who saved his life by intervening to make sure he was left in peace. But before I start explaining all this, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet and don't want to miss any upcoming videos, you can do so now. Without further ado, let's get started. Before fame, Snoop was part of a hip-hop trio in Long Beach, consisting of his late cousin Nate Dogg, Warren G., the half-brother of Dr. Dre, and himself. Warren G., being a close friend of Dr. Dre, made sure Dre took an interest in Snoop when he started Death Row alongside Knight. Thus, Dre had Snoop debut on the label by recording Deep Cover with him, a song for a movie of the same name for which Death Row worked on the soundtrack. After that, Snoop collaborated again with Dre when he released his debut solo album, The Chronic, which was critically acclaimed and helped establish Snoop as a well-known name in the hip-hop industry. Everything was going well for Snoop until 1993. While working on recording his debut album Doggy Style, one morning he was on his way to the studio with his bodyguard to continue working. Snoop Dogg was involved in a potentially career-damaging incident when he had a confrontation with a young member of a gang associated with the Creeps. During the episode, Snoop's bodyguard fired his weapon, resulting in the young man's death from the injuries. After the incident, both Snoop and his bodyguard were detained, a situation that left Snoop fearing the death penalty in the United States. Fortunately, sometime after the hearing, a judge granted them freedom, ruling they had acted in self-defense. Following the incident, reports indicate that close contacts of Death Row and Snoop Dogg himself stated in various interviews that it was Suge who secured his release from jail, paying about $1 million in bail. Thanks to this, Snoop was able to finish his album, which was released in November 1993. Produced by Dr. Dre and Daz Dillinger, Doggy Style was an immediate success and is considered Snoop Dogg's best album. Moving to 1996, the year Snoop released his second studio album, it was a turbulent period for him and Death Row Records. The East Coast-West Coast rivalry was at its peak, with Death Row and Bad Boy Records at the center of the conflict. Despite the tensions, Snoop tried to maintain peace, even stating in an interview with Hot 97 that Puffy and Biggie were his friends. This statement was not well received by his label mates, especially by Tupac, who never spoke to Snoop again after this episode. Tensions escalated further when, in September 1996, Tupac was shot and died 6 days later in the hospital. Before the attack, Tupac and other Death Row members had assaulted Orlando Anderson at the MGM in Las Vegas after a Mike Tyson fight. After these events, Snoop's situation at Death Row deteriorated, being disregarded by most. It was then that Master P, founder of No Limit Records, emerged as a savior for his career. Master P had a conversation with Snoop, who told him about his situation at Death Row Records. Master P was interested in signing Snoop to his own label and was willing to do whatever it took to achieve this. However, there was a problem with contracts and Suge Knight was still in prison in 1998. Master P decided to visit him in prison to talk about Snoop and try to convince Suge to let Snoop go. The solution was money. Master P ended up paying a $3 million check to seal the deal with Snoop Dogg. Additionally, Suge kept the rights to the name Snoop Doggy Dogg under Death Row, which would also receive a portion of Snoop Dogg's future profits from No Limit Records, but only the profits from the 3 contracted albums that Snoop would produce with the label. It was a good deal for Suge and also a rebirth for Snoop Dogg. Before closing the deal, when Master P spoke with Snoop, he asked for only $3,500 because he needed money, to which Master P not only gave $3,500 but rather $35,000. After the deal, the rest is history. Even after the deal, Snoop continued to be harassed for a while. In an interview with MTV, he said he used to be an executive and now was just a prisoner. Moreover, he spoke poorly of Suge several times, to the extent that Suge wanted to end him during a 1998 show with the No Limit Records team. Snoop was in his dressing room when suddenly several acquaintances from death row appeared and said he owed an apology. Snoop responded in a seemingly rude manner, and they began to assault him. Snoop managed to escape, and the men chased after him. Master P and the rest of the team, who were on stage, realized what was happening and ran down to help him. Snoop kept running. He eventually found a police officer and told him what had happened. Unfortunately, the officers searched him and smelled marijuana. He had some in his pocket and was arrested that night for possession of marijuana, but was released a few hours later. Suge's animosity towards Snoop continued, although years later they decided to reconcile. If you've made it this far and haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe, like the video, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any content. Thank you, and see you next time.